workshop, one of the things we're going to be talking about is professional lighting, cinematic lighting. So I have this scene here, and the scene is obviously animated. It's got some bloom in it. So let's start with post-processing. Let's talk about that for a second, because that is a big deal. I always say kind of have an idea of what the scene color is going to be. And I'll give you a simple measure for that. Like if you know that the scene is going to be dark, or it's going to be, I should say, friendly, or the emotional level of the scene is intense, then you can literally use your critical thinking and say, okay, well, if it's a colder environment, then it's going to be blue, and if it's a warmer environment, it's going to be red. But you also can go a little deeper and say, okay, if it's an emergency situation, it may be more red. If it's less of an emergency, or if it's a calm environment, it may be blue. And I always say, look at every color when you're looking at color theory inside of game design and film. Is you look at every color as if it has multiple layers, and both colors, or I should say all colors, are both good and evil, so to speak, and also positive and negative, and also can be used for emergency, and also can be used for calmness. So you have this huge spectrum of color and what it can do. So let's dig in here. So first thing you're going to see is this ambient occlusion. I'm going to talk about ambient occlusion. So ambient occlusion is actually the color that fills the shadows and the deep highlights inside of your scene. So we put on our ambient occlusion, one of the main things is the intensity. So if I turn this dark, just like black, which is like, I would say not so realistic as you would think, right? But let's just turn it dark anyway. And that's going to show you like where all of the crevices and all of the different parts are, because it's using the black to fill that empty space where the shadow usually can't hit, or the lights that are actually inside of your Unity scene can't get to. So let's go ahead, and for the sake of this, I'm going to just turn this little blue, turn the intensity up a little bit, just to heighten the scene. Now I'm going to actually take my color grade, and I'm going to kind of reset this guy. So you see that. That is the difference of color correction. Good color correction, when it's good, it has a value to it. So you can actually look at it and say, okay, this scene makes me feel cool, this makes me feel warm. So let's turn the temperature back up, and let's go ahead and move it to the warmer side. I'm just going to turn this whole scene warm, just again for the sake of example, so you can see the difference. And also, okay, so now we're going to go into saturation. So saturation. Inside of the cinematic world, saturation is considered one of the main things that makes things look actually cinematic. So I am actually big on saturation. I like my footage to look a little more colorful than usual. But if you're the type that wants to look more like more old film, or you want to appear to be more cinematic inside of your gameplay, which inside a workshop we kind of encourage this. Like, I don't want it to look exactly like mine. You want to use your creative brain to kind of do your own thing. So I'm just messing with the contrast now. So I'm gonna turn the contrast down here, and you can see that you're getting these different kind of varieties of taste of film. And what you would judge it off of in the story land is you would just say, okay, well, this color makes me feel the way this scene makes me feel. So if I turn it to this, I may go just off of judgment. I may say, well, this makes me feel like it's an old memory, or it's old historic war, and I may be satisfied with that. So I'm going to be satisfied with that for now. I'm going to go into my trackball here. I'm going to turn my lift up. I'm just going to turn that, and you can also change the color on this. And I believe if you hold shift, if you hold shift, it goes a little faster. So let's just, if not, you have to drag it. So I'm actually dragging this with my mouse here. And that's another reference to, you don't really need like a tablet to do this kind of thing. Mouse is just fine. I actually recommend the mouse, because most programs are just built for that. They're not really built for all the intensity and what some of these tablets can actually do. So I would definitely just stick with a mouse. So let's do bloom. So the bloom is what is actually making that stuff shiny in the back. So you see, I turn this all the way down, and it's nothing. I turn it all the way up, and you know you can get this guy blown out. One of the main things we try to teach in the workshop is to experiment with the numbers. So you may not always do these whole numbers, and it's a habit that we have is to just stay in these kind of incremental whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. But rhythm and pattern and characterization comes in with incremental small decimal numbers. So you may go 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and so on. So let's turn this intensity way down. Another thing you'll notice about the bloom is you could change the color. So I'll just change this to like more like brown to give it an even more kind of like old world look kind of. And I'll just turn it to that. You could also play with diffusion here, which is going to make it kind of fill the screen a little bit. So I like it kind of filled up. Another thing you could do is your dirtiness of your lens. So let's just look up dirt. I think I got some stuff in here. Yeah, and you can just load in images all day pretty much inside of here. And you need to turn the intensity up here to make that effective. So that's a weird dirt. I don't really care for that dirt. Let's try something else. Maybe I have grunge in there. Maybe. I can go for something like that. So let's do that. Just add a little bit of something to that, okay? I don't know if you can even see that. Let's spread that out a little bit. Let's play it, actually. So you can see this one and this one have completely different color arrangements, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this now. So I'm going to go here, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take out my light rig here. I don't want that light rig anymore. I'm going to go look and see what I'm looking like. So that's what I'm looking like without any lights in the scene now. Except for there's an HDRI inside the scene, which is the sky sphere that is over the whole scene. So that's the only lighting that you're actually getting. So let me check and see what this color is. So this is actually Color Rose Lab. This is actually a different, nope, that's Color Rose Lab too. So sometimes this will not update. So let's press it. Yeah, so now we're updating, okay? So I'm just pressing it here. All right, so now that all looks the same. So let's create a rig, all right? A lighting rig. How do we do this? It's a very simple process. We just go into what I call my timeline group, which is just an empty group with stuff inside of it, just so let's just do that, and let's just say light rig test, just so I don't mix it up with the real files here. And I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna slide it down to my timeline. I'm gonna say activation track, and let's just turn that on. There's nothing inside there yet, so you don't see anything change. So I'm just gonna press on it, and you should see it highlighted in blue. And I'm gonna go to light. I'm gonna put a directional light in there. All right. So now that I have that, I'm gonna go here, and here's what I'm gonna do to help myself. I'm gonna go to the Rosie robot, which is in that scene right there, and I'm going to take this directional light. I'm going to say Control-Shift-F. All right, that way my light is in my scene, and I'm going to actually turn on shadows so we get more realistic. So, and I'm going to go for like a morning time type of vibe, like maybe they're in this lab and it's morning time, right? So I'm just moving the light around. You can see inside of the game view the effect that it has. If it has any effect at all, let's turn the intensity up. This is one little trick to make sure your light is going where you want it to go and to see what it's actually doing to your shadows. So you can see those shadows. They look beautiful. You can do all types of stuff here at this point. You can do, let's get it close. Sometimes you see it and you catch it, and sometimes you cannot catch it. But you got to try, So I'm going to kind of come a little closer to the light so I have more control of it. And because it's 3D space, of course, like the closer I get to that light, a little bit more control I have. Okay, and then let's see if I can maybe we can go here. I like that. And then let's make another one.